Hi, Subhasri.
Hi, Priyash.
I'm so excited to be talking to you today. You are one of our rare unicorns for this year and for probably one in the last 5 years to have something special in your admit package today. And of course, we'll dive straight into that in a few minutes. But why don't we just get started by getting to know you a little bit better, Subhasri, so that our audience can understand your journey, your profile, before we talk more about the process and other aspects. So, with that, over to you.
Priyash, as you know, I am from Indian Oil. I have spent a decade at Indian Oil Corporation. So the first half of my career was in factories. Okay, so I was a maintenance in charge, and I was in the core factory floor operations. And I was in West Bengal, so I took care of a lot of union issues and all of that. So that was the first half of my career. In the second half of my career, after I led a major modernization project in a factory in West Bengal, I was then moved into a revenue generating function. So that was again in Kolkata. So I looked after Kolkata city hubs. So all the petrol pumps in Kolkata were kind of under me. I was the field officer at Kolkata. After which I got posted in Mumbai. So since 2025, I have been leading retail strategy in Bombay. So that's about my career progression. Apart from that, I am a new mom. So I gave my GMAT while I was 9 months pregnant, and I gave all of my all of my IIM examination, IIM interviews while I was having a newborn with me. So that's how I got through.
No, exciting journey, and I know that it's been a lot of sleepless nights, both with the kid as well as with the fact that you had so much preparation to
Yeah.
do, uh, but definitely yielded results. So let's talk about the results first. I would like to you to take the lead and talk about it first.
Okay, so I have cracked all the three IIMs, IIM ABC, and I have decided to join IIM Ahmedabad. My classes will start in April this year.
Awesome. So the year rare triple admit IIM A, B, and C. That is like a super exciting feeling for me. I'm 100% sure for more than that for you. And tell me how it was when you got those admits. Like, what did you feel like when you got that? First, you came Kolkata, then came Bangalore, then came Ahmedabad. So it went CBA in terms of admits for you. Tell me, how was it like getting into each one?
No, actually, first the Bangalore admit came through on
Okay, nice.
27th of December. So Bangalore was completely unexpected because normally what we knew is that Bangalore does not take people who are having 10 years of experience. But my interview went really well with Bangalore. They were super chill, and I literally thought that they were just being good with me, but then eventually I understood that yeah, they were like they kind of took me. So Bangalore came in on 27th December. That was overwhelming, and within a matter of 4 days, I got Calcutta admit as well. And recently on 16th of January, I got the Ahmedabad admit. Ahmedabad interview was again I wouldn't say from my point of view it went really well because there were a couple of like there were one or two questions that I could not answer as per my satisfaction, but then yeah, but it didn't really matter at the end, I guess.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, all three accepted you, and that's what matters in the end. That's true. And you're going to
Yeah.
Ahmedabad. We are excited about that. So let's now take it back in reverse from the point where you decided to join us way back, about in early mid October, I guess, early October, mid October, sometime in that window. Early October, I guess, yeah, because you're still not
Yes,
having
yes,
your
yes.
kid at that point in time. Yeah, we were still
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in those early days. So walk us through your thought process at that point in time. I know that you were, why did you look for a consultant? What were your challenges? Because today, when a student, any student who's aspiring MBA student looking for help, right? Why are they looking for help? Is because they're not really sure about the process, their fitment. What were your concerns? Why did you decide to work with LilacBuds specifically, if you can share that story?
Okay, fine. So, actually, my GMAT score was not like very high. It was a moderate score. So, after the GMAT was over, I did not have much time to sit for round two of GMAT. So I knew that I had to continue with this code. So after that, the challenge for me was that I had a 10-year big career, right? So I did not, like, I can write, although I can write well, I did not know how to collate all the experiences. And also I knew that there are some experiences which I would definitely understate, but then they are not, like, they should be portrayed even better. My husband is from ISB Hyderabad, and he keeps telling me that, see, these are not the things that, like, you just say, talk about it just like that, but these are huge achievements. So that is how I decided that I should probably talk to a counselor, and I should probably document my experience and my story a bit properly, not only for MBA but for the rest of my career. So
Correct.
that is how I started looking for a counselor. I went through a few profiles, but then when I saw the profile of LilacBuds, I visited your site. It looked like it's a bit like it's made for me, because the kind of content that was there, I knew that I will not be able to, uh, like, I knew I needed someone who would hold my hand. So for that, I felt that I would like to give Lilac Buds a try. And I was like, I'm so grateful that I made that choice. That was like probably one of the best choices that I have made.
Thank you so much for those very kind words. But absolutely right on the first thing, right? I remember speaking to you in one of those conversations, talking to you about, having been on a male-dominated factory floor and going through those petrol pumps and how people responded to you. I remember having that very, very personal conversation with you right in the beginning, where you were, when you were documenting all your stories, as you said, about leadership, about teamwork, about your maturity in these different situations and how people responded to you as a leader as well. And even though being in a PSU, having a slower progression path compared to people who are in a private company, there are promotions happening really fast. But in a PSU, the promotions happen in a tenure way, 4 years, 5 years, whatever their timelines are. And we spoke about those challenges, of course, which IIMs perfectly well understand. But at the same time, what has been your journey, even within that role, how you've demonstrated the strength as a woman leader, as a female leader, again in a very male dominated workspace. And that I think you portrayed really, really well. And I asked you some really tough questions. What kept you motivated? 10 years at IOCL, what gets you going, right? Like what keeps you continue to work there? And you were like, even after I get out of IIM, I'm looking to continue at IOCL. I remember you telling me those words. And I was like a little taken aback. I was like, maybe you had other options, but why? And then you kind of set that example or set that bar that you would like to be like,
Yeah.
SBI's chairman who kind of grew through the ranks
Yeah.
and went all the way to the top. So why not me, right? Like, and that was like definitely a motivating factor for me to say that, hey, this girl's got a lot of spunk, of course, to really think that boldly and, of course, execute with that vision in mind as well. So, taking it one step forward, you started working with us and you got introduced to Nitin on our team. So, working with Nitin, what was that like? What were meetings like? What was it like, talking to him about essays, talking to him about all these profile elements, how to bring them out properly? Can you share your actual working style with him and what worked for you? What was what was the best out of him that you could get?
Yeah, right. So I was waiting for this particular bit. So, as far as Nitin is concerned, I would start from the start. So the first meeting that we had, he just asked me to open up, to speak, no matter, to speak anything, whatever I had in my mind. He was just like, bolo bolo bolo, and main likhunga likhunga likhunga, do not worry about anything, I will just write and you just say. So we talked for, I think one and a half hours. I put my heart out in front of him. He was like more than a career counselor or an MBA B school counselor. He was more like a counselor, proper counselor. So I just opened up in front of him. So two things happened because of that. First, he got to know my story. Secondly, he got to know my character and the kind of approach that he should have with me. These were the two things that happened, like as far as he is concerned. As far as I am concerned, I opened up in front of him, and that helped me in the rest of the journey. So after I told whatever I had to say, he had put it in a framework, and then he asked me to write things down. So he asked me to write an initial SOP, initial story, and he asked me to not mind the words. He was like, 800, 900, jitna bhi words hai, I don't care, just write it. And that actually helped me because in different colleges you're having different kinds of questions. So all the colleges do not, for example, IIM-A, they ask you three different questions in your essays. So the 900 words that I wrote there, from there I could take snippets and write my essay. So that really helped me later on.
Yeah.
And apart from that, after I wrote that, then we started kind of working on those 900 words. We then brought it down to 700. Then we brought it down to 600. I used to give the changed version to him. He used to make the necessary changes. He spoke his mind. I spoke my mind. There was always kind of a healthy debate going on in between both of us. The best thing was that the whole thing was very informal. So eventually, in the past 3 odd months, Nitin has literally become like my big brother, and I can rely on him like for
Advice beyond LilacBuds
any
as
kind
well.
of advice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the kind of influence that he had on me was much more than only preparation for B school, and that I think is extraordinary.
Awesome. Thank you again for putting out kind words for Nitin. He is definitely one of those mentors who's very flexible with students also to meet at odd times, which you needed to do specifically, and
Yes, yes, yes.
connect over a quick session sometimes as needed. I think one of Nitin's most amazing qualities is, as you said, he's grounded. He brings his own experiences in consulting, entrepreneurship, and his
Absolutely.
B school days as well, to add a lot of masala to your application, which spices it up. I think for B school committees not to ignore you. So that's the really cool part. Now, in terms of your essays, when you wrote those first drafts and then you got those final drafts, how much of a process was that? Because again, people tend to underestimate the amount of time, or they tend to underestimate the amount of effort that goes into it. Talk a little bit about getting those essays out. How long was the process for you? How much to and fro or editing was needed post the first round? How much time should an applicant actually give to those essays according to you in order to be ready?
See, I have gone through the whole process, right, for all of the colleges. I applied for Lucknow as well. I did not go to the interview, but I went through the application process. Essays take a lot of time. And one might think that you just need to write a 600-word essay, but it's not like that because every college wants a different answer. So, for example, in IIM Calcutta, they wanted a question like write something about your job and write something about your previous job. So there you had to break things up in a different way. And then they asked a random question like write anything else that you would want to write about yourself. That's not easy because there a lot of people are going to write a lot of things about them. And so you need to curate that. This is just one example that I gave. Every college is having different questions. So we had to go through, I think, at least 5 to 6 rounds of to and fro for each college. And Nitin helped me in all of those answers. In writing, I used to write the answers, send it to him. He used to change it, send it to me, and then call me. And then tell me ki I made this change because of this particular reason. And
Okay.
then if I wanted to enter something else, he asked me to write it and send it to him. Then again, he would send me back with something changed. So that's not an easy process.
Yeah. And what was the use of ChatGPT? That's the latest question that everybody needs to understand. How important or not important is ChatGPT in your essay writing process?
In the essay writing process, see, I have been writing since very long, so I made it a point to not use ChatGPT much, because so I used it in the initial writing to say correct the grammar, but then I had my own bit, I had my own peace of mind, and I used it completely. I tried to use ChatGPT for once, but I for me the answer was, I mean, not meaty.
Not
So
you.
I changed it.
It wasn't you
Yeah, yeah,
actually. It wasn't very authentic because
it
you
wasn't me.
did a
Yeah,
lot of the SOP writing earlier and you would have realized that this doesn't sound like me or feel like me, isn't it?
exactly. Like I write articles normally, I keep writing articles about movies and all. So I did not meet ChatGPT much, but I would like to mention a point that for preparation of interview questions, people normally use ChatGPT. So I tried to do the same. So for the answer of why MBA, I tried to use ChatGPT, and it gave me reasons like the energy industry is in an inflection point, and so I need to be the transit. I need to lead the transition, something like that. I thought I'll put it as a point in my answer. Then I talked to one of my friend who is also in IOC, and who is also trying for IIM Lucknow. He gave me the, I was taking a mock actually. I was taking his mock. He gave me the exactly same answer. That energy industry is in an inflection point. So when I heard that, I was like, I need to just chuck it and just make it my personalized answer.
Correct. And your story, in your words, is what sells to an admissions team, right? If they see that everybody's saying the same thing, because ChatGPT is likely to produce similar answers once you put your CV
Similar
in and
answers, yeah.
once you ask a very generic question like why MBA, its knowledge base will only train it on so much, right? But your personal gaps, your personal elements that you want to get extract out of the program are going to define why admissions teams think that you really understand what this means for you, what this 1 year will be like in terms of your upskilling, in terms of your network building, in terms of your industry readiness for the future. And when you look back at an IIMA program, they want you to be truly making the most out of it in terms of what you derive out of the
Yeah,
program. And
exactly.
when you really thought that through, rather than just saying random things like it's an at a transient point and I want to be like an XYZ leader. Any long term goal is always like become the CXO. And I'm like, yeah, we don't like it's not that easy. It takes probably 10-15 years after an MBA program as well to even be in a chief dash anything officer. uh, it's really going to be not that you got to talk about your goals from a transition perspective, like this gets me here and then this gets me
Exactly.
here, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's my final end goal, and bringing that out very clearly is important. Now let's move
And
forward a little
also,
bit. Yeah, yeah,
And
go
also,
ahead.
just one more point, that the guys sitting there, the IIM faculty, they are very smart. The
Yes,
admissions team, they are very smart. You use ChatGPT, no matter how well you use it, you are going to get caught at some point in time. And also, I think for the interview, what they are checking is basically the how authentic you are. Like that is basically what they check, and whatever you have written, how similar you are to what you have written. So if you write it using any other any AI platform, they are going to understand it and it is going to affect you.
absolutely. Absolutely. And in terms of the interview process, that is actually my next question. Interview is such an important part. You had three amazing interviews. Uh,
Yeah,
Tell
yeah,
us
yeah.
about, the prep experience with us, with Nitin, with me, and how that prep was relevant for you, or what were your anxiety points before you walk? Because everybody's got nerves before getting into an interview. Everybody who's getting into the interview round is of course already
Absolutely.
having one foot in the door. How do I stand out? What do
Yeah,
I
yeah.
say? The extempore stuff, the written tests. What were your chief concerns, and how did you kind of walk yourself through that process of being ready for interview day? And I know that you had two interviews in one day, and one of
Yes, yes,
the
yes.
sessions in Mumbai.
So
So talk a little bit
interview
about
of
that.
Calcutta and Bangalore were on the same day. It was on 13th of December. So, Calcutta and Bangalore do not have extempo. So, I basically prepared for for a normal interview. I had a mock with first gave me a series of questions which I prepared. Then I had a mock first with Nitin. So Nitin started off with questions that I hadn't prepared. He was very he started off with very different questions. So I was caught there because I had not prepared it well. And then he gave me certain clues and he made me understand where I was going, where I could do better. That is how that happened. Then I think Nitin gave you a feedback and you took the next interview. So the next interview was very different. And I was also a bit more prepared then. So with you, it was again another different experience. One thing is, you guys record the videos. So I used to go back to the videos and check how I performed. And then I made the necessary changes. I did
Okay.
that. Yeah, and then I kept practicing. Like apart from both of you, I constantly took interviews with all of my friends, and then again I went back to the both of you. So that is how I did a lot of mocks. So mocks are extremely important because you need to sit in front of somebody, not in front of AI, but in front of an actual human. So that is very important. And for extempo, I had prepared extensively well. I used to, so for extempo, basically you need to have an opinion on recent subjects like policy matters or environmental concerns or anything and everything under the sun. So they
Yeah.
basically check how opinionated you are and also what if you can have a level mind in the face of somebody who knows more than you. So that is what they
Absolutely.
basically check. So
Yeah.
for
Not.
extempo, I prepared very extensively. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I don't think they're checking how opinionated you are, how for how clearly you are able to form an opinion.
How
I think
clearly,
that's the
yeah,
way
yeah, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the that's the right phrase for it. That if you're able to clearly put your opinion in front of a
In
set
front
of
of them.
people and then answer their questions in a to and fro, accept where your thesis is probably lacking a little depth, and then explain where you are stronger with a data perspective. That gives them that confidence that you are able to think on your feet, you are well researched, and of course, well read at the same point in time, and have excellent communication or persuasive skills to explain to the other party why you believe in your opinion per se. So that's
And
of
also
course.
taking a side and, yeah, like taking a side and sticking to it is also something that is extremely important.
Yes, absolutely. Good, awesome. So now that you've got this amazing, again, triple admit, IIM, A, B, and C, if there was one advice you had to give to somebody in the future who's going to probably look to do the same feat, what is it that you would
Yes.
tell them? Because, with a GMAT score, by the way, you didn't mention your GMAT score, maybe just for the audience, if you want to mention what your GMAT score was.
My GMAT score was in GMAT Focus. It was 615, 615.
Yeah, okay. And so with that GMAT score, you had to cross a big hurdle. Your experience was backing you. You had amazing other things in your work profile that really mattered. There
Yeah.
would be people who are worried about GMAT score, there are people who are worried about depth of experience, there are people who are worried about gem profiles. There's so many worries each student brings. What is your one thing that you would tell them, or a couple of things that you would tell them that you think would give them the confidence or the encouragement to achieve your kind of feat?
Okay, so the first thing that I would say is, see, GMAT score is a part of your story, but that is just a part. So do not get bogged down by your GMAT score and focus as much as possible on the application. Because what I saw was that interview is also one part of it, but application plays a very important role. So focus a lot on your application, on your SOPs, and whatever you are writing, be very authentic in what you're writing. Try to use as many personal stories of your career from your personal life as possible, because that is going to make all the difference. And apart from that, in the interview process, prepare really well. Take as many mocks as possible with your friends, with your family members, because you need to get rid of your fear. And finally, do not underestimate yourself. Because I know there's a lot of competition, but we are brave enough to if you are brave enough to think about it, I think we are brave enough to crack it as well. So do not underestimate yourself, just have the confidence, and I think that's enough.
Cool. Thank you. And your last question from me, if somebody was thinking about, consulting or, looking for help and they were considering LilacBuds, what would be your two or three reasons why you would recommend LilacBuds to them?
Firstly, Lilac Buds helped me to regain the confidence in myself, because after a decade in a PSU, although I knew that I had a good experience, my confidence was a bit dwindling. So Prayash and Nitin, they helped me understand that my profile is really good and I stand a good chance. Because like these are the people who go through thousands of profiles every day. So this coming from them had made a huge difference in my approach. So that is number one. Number two, I had seen my husband work with a counselor. I will not take his name. I have seen my best friend work with a counselor. Lilac Buds is the best among all the three, because and they were very very good counselors. Okay, because the other two were extremely formal, but in this particular process, you would need some kind of, so there are times when you will feel underconfident and you would need to go back to your counselor or your mentor. So the mentor needs to give you that space, that particular place. So Lilac Buds gave that to me, and I'm sure they will give it to you, they will help you. So please go ahead with Lilac Buds.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Subhasri. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for taking your time. I'm really, really excited once again, as I said, about what holds the future holds for you at IIM Ahmedabad. And I would love to keep in touch, see some pictures coming in. What is life like a
Sure, sure.
family probably on the Ahmedabad campus? Because that's a
Yes,
rare one again, right? With a kid in tow.
yes, yes.
And growing up, studying, kid growing up and then you studying together, that's again a story for the for your lifetime in general, right? Like you telling your kid at some point, right? Like, hey, you know what, when you were still less than a year old, I was still studying in college with you in tow. And great memories coming your way. Congratulations with all our heart, and looking forward to hearing your amazing stories in the next year as well.
I'll keep you updated, and thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Nitin, for doing everything that you guys did for me. I'll never forget this.
Thank you.